Thank you for signing in. We have started talking about adding and subtracting positive and negative fractions. So we're going to do a couple example problems. We'll do 2 example problems where we are adding fractions and a couple where we are subtracting fractions. So the first problem that we are going to do is we are going to complete negative 1/5 plus negative 3/7. So right away, what I notice about this is that the signs on the numbers are the same. So I know that I'm going to take the absolute value and add them together. So the absolute value of negative 1/5 is 1/5. The absolute value of negative 3/7 is 3/7. So I'm going to do 3/7 plus 1/5. Now, I can't add those unless they have a common denominator. The common denominator for 7 and 5 is 35. So I'm multiplying this fraction by 5 over 5 and this fraction by 7 over 7. What that gives me is 15 over 35 plus 7 over 35. So now that they have a common denominator, I can add straight across. 15 plus 7 is 22 over 35. Now I go back to the problem and I see since they're both negatives, the sign on my answer is also negative. So that's adding 2 fractions that have the same sign. Now here's the second problem we're going to do. We're going to look at negative 3/4 plus 5/12. So this one's different because I have 2 numbers with different signs. So what that tells me is I'm going to take the absolute value of both of them. But this time, since the signs are different, I'm going to subtract those absolute values. So the absolute value of negative 3/4 is 3/4. The absolute value of 5/12 is 5/12. And now I'm going to subtract. So I have 3/4 minus 5/12. I need a common denominator. 4 goes into 12 evenly, so I'm going to leave this one alone. And I'm just going to multiply this one by 3 over 3. So what I end up with is 9/12 minus 5/12. That equals 4/12. Now I see right away I can reduce that because I can divide the top and the bottom by 4. So I get 1/3. And then I go back to my problem and I see that the number with the greater absolute value, 3/4, is negative. So my answer is negative. So that's how we add numbers, fractions, with different signs. Alright, now we're going to look at a couple subtraction problems. If I had something like negative 1/7 minus 3 over 14, my first thing that I know I have to do is rewrite it because I would rather do addition than subtraction. So I'm going to keep the first number the same. I'm going to change to addition. Then I'm going to change the second number to its opposite. So it becomes negative 3 over 14. Now I have an addition problem, which I like much better. The numbers have the same sign. So I'm going to take the absolute value of both those numbers. I have 1/7 and 3/14, and since the signs are the same, I'm going to add them. My common denominator I'm going to use is 14 because I know 7 goes into 14 evenly. So I'm going to multiply this one by 2 over 2. And we get 2 over 14 plus 3 over 14. That equals 5 over 14. And since both the numbers are negative in the addition problem we wrote, the answer is going to be negative. So that's how you subtract fractions. You rewrite it as addition, then you follow the same steps that we discussed for addition.